Hi, everybody. I'm so glad to be here sharing about these case studies with you. As Laura mentioned, I'm a certified body intuitive and I've been practicing since 2019. So today I wanted to share with you about a client. She was 49 years old and she came because she had had chronic bladder inflammation, infections for at least 10 years. And her food sensitivities were very extreme. Pretty much anything she ate other than very, very bland food, very basic food, and even typical things like vegetables or simple carbs created kind of digestive upset. So this was obviously really impacting her life and her ability to do her work. She was a really successful entrepreneur and was feeling like she couldn't engage in the way she wanted to. She also struggled with kind of low self-worth, constantly kind of questioning herself. And she found that really playing out in her relationships and her business. So she was ready to kind of shift all of these things. And so we worked together over 4 months. We had 8 sessions together. And when we began, she was taking at least 30 cranberry pills a day to kind of control the bladder inflammation and infections. And she was also taking a significant number of magnesium pills every day to support these things. So after 8 sessions together, she was able to completely eliminate the cranberry pills and had no recurrent bladder issues whatsoever, no inflammation, no urgency, and no infections, which was such a relief to her in terms of living out her daily life. She was able to bring back almost every food. You know, she kept out processed sugar, but fruits, vegetables, meat, beans, which made a huge difference in her quality of life, and her digestive system kind of remained stable. And then she saw a really big shift in her relationship with food, which, again, I think a theme that I find with doing body intuitive work, and I think that's been touched on here, is that, oftentimes you come in for one thing, and yet so much can be addressed in these sessions that there are other kind of underlying things that you're like, oh yeah, I didn't realize that was also a thing. And because everything is so connected, you end up seeing transformation in other areas. And so finally, she really felt like, quotes from her, that her energy had been restored, that she was joyful and peaceful for the first time in her life, a renewed sense of purpose and meaning in her work and in her day to day. So the next case study that I'm excited to share with you guys is a thyroid kind of situation. And this is from a newly certified body intuitive practitioner, Malgorzata. And so she had a female client, age 58, and they had 10 sessions together. And they addressed some kind of deeper spiritual issues around kind of intuition and fear of dying, as well as some physical issues, digestion. This woman had had issues with her thyroid for many years, and then also some emotional issues, depression, apathy, and having a hard time expressing herself. And again, I think this is something really beautiful about this system, that you can come in and address. It's not just the physical, but it's also the emotional, the mental, the spiritual layers that can all be addressed together. And so the results of this kind of series of sessions, that Malgorzata got an email from the client a few days ago to say that she had gotten her thyroid tested, and it was the first time since 2014 that all of her thyroid results were in balance. And so the client said, I honestly feel it was largely due to a lot of the emotional release work we did together with Body Intuitive. And from Malgorzata about her experience as a practitioner working with this client, she really reflected on how beautiful it was to see this person changing and evolving over time. Things like finding a house for herself, seeing the fear of dying shifting and resolving. She noticed that this woman started to listen to her inner voice, accepting who she was. She found that her digestion improved, an ulcer had kind of become minimized, or it seems like it was really worrying her. And suddenly all the energy around that was gone. But really for her, I think for all of us, when we have something like seeing the results of the thyroid test, that's really lovely and a beautiful confirmation of the power of this work. So a quote from her is, I guess since I'm new, I still have doubts that my work as a practitioner can help. So I'm just wanted to share this as a part of my journey and learning to trust myself in the magic of Body Intuitive. So here is another kind of kind of frame to look at this type of work. So this is from a certification program student named Jazz. And so she took on a series of 4 cases for the purpose of showing proficiency in the body intuitive system. And she found that all 4 were free of the physical symptoms they had initially come in presenting with. And so there was one in particular where the symptom didn't kind of entirely go away, but the person was a manual therapist, so working with her hands a lot, and she had pain there. And when she began, it was a level 9 all the time. And now it's only at a 5 when she's working, and then pain free the rest of the time, which is pretty incredible. And, Jazz is someone who has been working kind of in this area for a long time. So for her to see progress in a few sessions is something that she's used to. But what she has really been impressed with is how Body Intuitive has enabled her to address hand tremors in this person who's working as a therapist. That was in one session. So she noticed that her tremors were at a level 9, and now they're currently not present at all. So from Jazz, she said, I tried to treat her hand tremors in the past with other modalities and could not touch the issue. I'm convinced it was the use of the acupoints that were the variable. I'm now a firm believer in the power of Body Intuitive and its East and West approach for maximum resolve of symptoms. Finally, I want to share an allergy case study from a master practitioner, Christine Anderson. She's also an RN. So she was working with a man in his 60s who had experienced seasonal allergies almost his entire life, every spring and fall, kind of like clockwork. And so for several decades, he had been on daily allergy pills, 4 to 6 months a year during the allergy season. And for her, when she was working with him, they addressed the immune system, the mast cells, and the mast cells are usually a key role in allergies. And she found that they were very reactive to pollen and that there were emotional layers there that needed to be addressed. And so this, I think, is a beautiful example, again, of how Body Intuitive really sees the whole picture in these healing roadmaps. It's like it's not just the mast cells and the immune issue, it's also all the emotional layers, from a lifetime of having allergies and other things. And so the wow is no allergy symptoms remain. So thank you all so much. And I look forward to hear the rest of these case studies.